what the hell are you stressed about? Such a small part of the universe. And in that, you sitting here wanting something to happen and you don't trust the universe. You may be sitting with your back towards the sun. That doesn't mean the sun has stopped existing. Just turn around, it's there. So one son started drinking because the father drinks. The other son never touched the bottle because father drinks. What a young mind is going to pick up is you don't know. And when I interacted with the abhyasis of the heartfulness, I discovered something which resonates between what heartfulness stands for and what we were as an independent small group of ignorant people doing. And perhaps that is why I happen to come to Shanti, Vanam.
Namaste, sir. Thank you so much for taking time out and coming to the Kanha studio to sit down with us.
Namaskar. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon.
This is your first visit to Kanha, Shanti Mami?
Yes, it's my first visit to Kanha Shanti Vanam. I wish I had come more often, much earlier.
So the first thing I want to ask, what are your first impressions of this place?
You see, I was introduced to heartfulness about 7-8 years ago. And the introduction was just I happened to meet somebody who was an abhyasi. That's all about it. Then couple of weeks ago, I happened to go to the Bhopal Shri Ram Celebration Center where they had the monthly congregation, which was a larger group. Yes. And I got an opportunity to be with them and speak to them in those sessions. That was my second interaction with heartfulness. And within few weeks, I don't know what has inspired me to come to this place. So it's an inspiration driven visit.
And you've had a tour of the campus a little bit.
Yes, Gaurav and Kavita and Aditi have been very kind to show us around.
So this is a campus that is devoted to meditation, basically. The first thing is meditation, but there are also many other initiatives that the campus is engaged in. For you personally, sir, you have, from what I've read, you have also had an spiritual bent of mind. When did that start?
This is a calling which kept coming all these years. I didn't pay attention to it. But it took a very, very specific shape sometimes in 2018. And then it went on. I would say that now, as I look back, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Nevertheless, it's never too late. So it has. I'm happy that I'm now on my own journey.
And you have, of course, been part of the services, and it's an extremely stressful job that you have, what we hear about. It's like that's extreme. The stress levels are extreme, and stress is the buzzword these days. What is your personal coping mechanism been for times of extreme stress?
You know, I learned that it's a technique I have been following all these years, but much later I understood the science behind it. And then I gradually developed it. Let me tell you my own version of what stress is. I think it is something, the gap between wanting something either to happen or wanting something not to happen. And when that engages all your awareness and you are hell bent trying to get it or hell bent trying not to get it happens, that is the genesis of so called stress. And I think stress, it may sound a little harsh if you allow me to say it. I don't think there is anything called stress. And if somebody claims he is stressed, he's certainly not learned the right way to live. There can never be stress in your life only if you understand that you are here on a planet somewhere in the galaxy, you know, just about the most insignificant point, if you say from a cosmic point of view. Absolutely. What the hell are you stressed about? Such a small part of the universe, and in that you sitting here wanting something to happen, and you don't trust the universe. It's taken me 13.8 billion years, if you believe in Big Bang, for this particular moment, you and me sitting here. Absolutely. And you don't like it or you dislike it. I find it so amusing that a species gets up and says that, no, I don't want it. Or I want that. Fine, you work for it. Nobody's denying that. But, but I mean, I find it laughable now. The technique that I was mentioning was that you sit down as many times in a day as you get an opportunity and just connect yourself with the sensations in the body. When I was doing some of my assignments, which people used to say must have been extremely stressful, the whole day in my office, you get a lot of opportunities. You turn on a computer, you break for a coffee, or you are just not doing anything, or you are moving from one file to the other file. You get moments in between. Use the moments to get connected with yourself. That's all. I used to do it all the while during the meeting when my bosses used to take me meeting and nobody knew what I'm doing. They thought such a serious looking guy. He's very attentive. Yes, I was attentive. But there was so much time available for me to remain connected with me. So I have discovered now that for me, there might be other ways of doing it. Being connected with the body means being connected and staying in the now, neither in the future nor in the past. So that stress doesn't exist in the now. So true. So true. This is amazing how you put it, actually, because it puts the stress under temptation and fear. These are the two things. You want something to happen and you don't want something to happen. Temptation and fear. This has also been written in the Heartfulness literature by Babuji and then Chariji and Daji. They talk about it, how that is our primary motivation. And that also seems to be the primary motivation why people go towards God sometimes. You go to a temple for fear of nothing bad happening or for temptation of something happening. Have you had a relationship with the ultimate, the God, cosmos, whatever one may call it? What is your personal relationship with? Can you exist without that?
Hmm.
Are you not a manifestation of the same?
True.
And you may be sitting with your back towards the sun. That doesn't mean the sun has stopped existing. Just turn around, it's there. How beautifully put. And you think the sun sets. It does not. It's always there. You move from one end called east to the west. That's your problem. It's not the sun not being existing or being in its own place. It's they're two parks. I don't claim that experientially I am evolved. I have no such claims. But the basic thing that you can never be unsure about is that I am. The rest of it is all changing. Sure, I am is not. That light of I, the principle I, keeps shining all the time. So you can close your eyes right now and you can You can check, yes, I am. So that is what I understand as my being. And as a species, we have named up ourselves very beautifully. Human being, yes, right? The human part is my jealousy, anger, hatred, uh, competition, and all that. That is the human part. The being is what you are talking about. So, how often do you, in these 24 hours, stay human? And how often do you stay as a being? There's a choice you can make. And I wish we had an organized system of bringing this understanding to permeate the daily life. So true. And I'm sure heartfulness is one such place where it happens.
Absolutely. The understanding of the situation the reality in a sense. And that is what heartfulness is about. And it's a very personal journey that each one of us can undertake.
Yeah.
Hearing you and talk with such clarity about these topics, I can't help but wonder, where did this start? I mean, was it in childhood? Were you fond of discourses, or did you visit temples? What was childhood like?
My childhood, leave apart childhood, my boyhood, my adulthood, my middle agehood, whatnot, till I was old enough. I would say till 55, I lived in a particular way. And it all happened after that. So I'm a beginner kind of a stuff. Very recently introduced to this. But as I heard Daji say it when I went to the Sri Ramachandra Mission Center, that if you taste it once, then you can't leave it. You taste the beingness once, then you want to be there. So it happens.
Also, you have been in the services. Where did that motivation come? Did you always envisage your career as being in service?
Yes, right from my school days. I happened to see a deputy commissioner come to my school. I didn't know what a deputy commissioner is. We call it collector of a district. So when he came in, all my teachers and my principal, whom we feared the most, they welcomed him and honored him, and the fellow seemed to be in the middle of the attention wherever he went. So I just thought, let me find out who is this fellow. What is it that he is that the entire school is attending to, giving importance to him? I don't forget the moment when I saw him alighting from the car and the young mind getting the hit. That was the first impression, and I still remember that distinctly, and it never went away. And I thought, "Ye banna hai." I, as as Providence would have it, I could do that. So I never looked back. I never uh, thought there is any other profession that I am meant for.
So you had that clarity, right?
I had that clarity from my school. When I went into the college, so why did I go to that college? Because my father said this is a good college. You must get admission in this college in Chandigarh. So I said fine. We hadn't heard of IITs in those days. Although one of my cousins was studying in IIT Delhi. But my father said this engineering college in Chandigarh is the best. You should get admission here. So I got admission there. When I went into the college, I fumbled with my electronics and electrical engineering subject. I said, this doesn't interest me. Although my principal and my teachers used to say that this is the time when the electronics is going to go. We didn't have computer sciences in those days.
Yes, yes.
And the computers were the mainframe computers. We used to go and punch in the language, and the computer used to start from the basement of the building and went up to the fourth floor.
Gigantic.
Those were the mainframe computers, and the punching cards were used, and the languages were.
Now that capacity in a card is
Yeah, it is. It's in your pocket now. So I knew I'm not made for this. Although my friends went to US, to Silicon Valley, and did extremely well, they are far more wealthier than what I happen to be. But then you have to choose your own ways.
And it is the administrative services exam is reputed to be one of the toughest things to get through. What advice do you have to people who are going that? How did you manage? Was there any particular way you approached it?
I'm too old to advise their generation, for the simple reason that they are far more aware, and they know the worldly ways much more than what I used to know at that point in time. I think, when I look back, you have to make preparations for any competitive exam, whatever it may be. I studied devotedly for about 3 years. I still remember November 81, I began my preparations, and November 84, I appeared in the exam. For 3 years, I must have, fully burnt myself in the process of preparations. I had nothing else to do except to find out books, read, because there were no coaching classes in those days. So you have to take out your own study material and be on no Google, nothing. I happily. So now when I look back, what was it that helped me in cracking? You see, two things now seem very apparently clear to me. One, not once in those 3 years or before that, whatever time I spent visualizing being what I want to be, not once did an element of fear of failure came in my mind. Not once. Now I look back and think it was too big a risk which I had taken. And how is it that there was no fear of failure which ever crept into my mind? It never came in my mind. Not that I was so sure that I will succeed. No, it was not like that. I thought that I am going to do whatever best I can, and let me see what comes out of it. This is, I'm making a statement now in retrospect. In those days, I just worked, and worked. Studied, and studied. No fear, no, any visualization of dreams coming true, or no imaginations, nothing.
Just single focus.
And the second thing is that I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I did it like, somebody so passionate about painting, music, podcasts these days, or many other, gardening maybe, or meditation maybe. For me, it was 3 years of continuous meditation. Was. So I was a success, fine. I I don't know what is the reason of the success. But when I look back now, and I think if I have to advise my youngsters, I would be little, shaky at this too risky a business. And perhaps there are much better avenues now than going into, administrative line. It has its own challenges, and I think at times it's demanding, all right. At times you do understand the limitations. I won't say frustration, but you do understand that you have a limited space to operate in. And so you have to live with all those limitations. And obviously the opportunities both.
Yes, as you mentioned, there are a lot of challenges to the civil services. There's, of course, we all think of the conception that there are politicians interfering in your work. That is, you are dealing with all strata society, not just one strata society, and you have to keep everybody's interest in mind. You are working with public interest. But there must be rewards also. There must be times when you feel you have done a good job. What are those times in your services that really feel like, yes, I'm in the right place?
You see, I never felt that I'm not in the right place. With all those limitations and opportunities on the table. If you want to, if you're trying to say that what is your aha moment
Mhm.
in all these years, I think there are many. And they start from helping somebody who appears to be helpless to assisting somebody who may be the most powerful in the system. That is the spectrum of your activities in civil services, and that is the beauty of the spectrum, that you work on. I won't be able to point out a single aha moment because there are so many of them. They I can only categorize them subject wise without going into details of a particular incident. One, when you step into a law and order situation and you know that if you will not succeed in this or if you will fail at this duty, you are risking lives of the people.
Huge responsibility.
It's a big responsibility. And there can be many aha moments in it because then you're doing something of a very different kind. Then there are policy initiatives. Obviously, the policies are that of the state, and policies are must pass the political exam of political test of the day. But you make a policy, and it impacts the entire population of the state. If the state that I come from has about 8.5 crore people. So you are participating in a policy which is going to impact at least 8 crore persons in the state. It's a very, very, beautiful, empowering feeling. Then let me tell you, there is no dearth of opportunities which allow you to explore the limits of your creativity. You set up new departments, you set up new rules, you set up new systems of executing those rules, and you do it obviously through the approval of the political system in place, because ultimately the boss is the democratic elected government. But then it's a very, you know, uh, 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 it's a very noble cause in a sense. You are doing something and you know it impacts the lives of the people. It impacts the society. It impacts the economic framework. It impacts personal domain of the people. To that extent, I would say yes, it's a very, very, I won't say challenging, but very, very satisfying task.
No doubt. No doubt. And another thing that is talked about a lot these days is work life balance. And in the civil services, of course, you are never really off duty. And if something happens at 2 a.m., you have to be there. So, did you find maintaining a work life balance a problem or?
I think you will have to ask my wife, and she will have all the complaints. And she still is complaining and cribbing even after I have demitted the office because she thought that once I'm through with my government job, I'll be able to come home and rest. And that is the time when we'll be together more often. But old habits die hard. So if I evaluate it from her point of view, which I think is the only way of answering this question, I would say I failed badly at that. My life in those days had been work, work, and work, and I I think I missed out on a lot.
It's very, it's a double-edged sword because at one point your work-life balance causes strife in the family, but on the other side you are doing such great service to the nation. So it's like a difficult call to make, and I think a lot of people would suffer from that in the services.
You know, the family is also part of the nation.
So true. So
And over a period of time, families they do adjust and get used to it, because that is how the survival instinct of the species comes into play.
correct.
But then you find moments where you try and compensate for the loss, but then I think you are, at least I consider I failed in fulfilling many of the expectations of my family to that extent. And not that I was very busy in the work. No, I think I could have struck a balance without compromising either the work or the family. But wasn't aware of what I was doing,
Mm.
and for want of awareness that I need to balance it, I missed out. And if somebody says that it's a very challenging job, you don't have time for the family, now in retrospect, I think it's absolutely incorrect.
So it is
Yeah,
possible.
it is possible.
Mm.
And luckily, my sons are better at that. They must have seen their father.
They also in the administrative service.
My elder son is in
Yes.
the administrative service, the younger one is in the private sector. But their work-life balance is much better than their father.
Also, that it's actually improved over time.
Yes, there's a story of a father who was a drunkard and he had two sons. So one son started drinking because the father drinks. The other son never touched the bottle because father drinks. What a young mind is going to pick up is you don't know.
Yes. Also, there is somebody who was telling me that for the administrative services, being a generalist is a great advantage. I mean, you can't be a specialist in one thing, but because you have to deal with such a wide variety of issues, wide spectrum of people. So, do you find that that is to have a little bit of interest in everything?
You see, you move from department to department, and every department is a specialized
Yes.
task, whether it is health or IT or urban development or whatever. But policy making is not the domain of one specialist. For example, if you have to build a dam, you need a civil engineer, right? You need a hydro engineer. You need a power engineer. You need an environmentalist. You need somebody who is going to handle the law and order. And you need somebody who can look after the rehabilitation. You name it. There will be 20 odd specialists, services which would be needed to implement a particular project. How do we visualize one person out of those 20 specialists to be a leader or to carry the team? You would need somebody who has a wider acceptance of authority, who has wider access to the powers that be for briefing all those the points related to the 20 separate subjects. And then, above all, there is a political wisdom which comes from the elected representative.
Yes, yes.
And with, with 20 specialists here and the political wisdom on the other end, they have to be married as well.
Yes, bringing you together.
They have to be brought together. So whether A service does it or B service does it is not the point. The point is you have to have a system in place wherein they can be, connected together and brought on the same page. Now, whether that is a journalist service doing it, or whether it is a political appointee doing it, or whether somebody who has, a lot of experience of a particular field and has a wider canvas on which he can paint, and he has that kind of capacity. There are people who are who 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 work in special sectors, but yet have a very wide, understanding. Anybody, but you need somebody. And when it comes to systems, frameworks, and you have a repetitive, task to do, then this is where you devise services like administrative services, civil services, and then you put them in a place, and then you use them for this kind of a task.
So true. You have also in your career seen the information revolution.
Oh yes.
It's like, an exchanged society so much. I mean, everybody has a phone. Information is shared more quickly. Is that being something that is a challenge, or is it helpful to administer?
You know, you've used a blade,
Yes,
a knife.
yes, yes, yes.
You can use
Use it for either.
use it in any way. You have a mind.
Yeah.
Either the mind is a master or a good servant. So it's not that a particular tool is good or bad. It's the way you use which will determine whether the usage is good or usage is bad. And I would say that if there is one sector which is uh, most important from a business point of view or economy's point of view, it is now the attention economy.
Absolutely.
You see, earlier there used to be hoardings and newspapers and all that. They used to draw your attention. Now the mobile, the laptop, and the whole range of digital world is all that it is trying to do is to attract you,
Hacking your attention.
hijacking your attention. This is why meditation is much more important in this era than in any other age. Because all that you need to understand is that you must, at a given point in time, be aware of where your awareness is. Be aware of what is it that you are paying attention to. People just get blown away by their digital screens. They don't even remember how much time goes into when they start flicking those short videos. They will, it's all in.
Yes, yes, yes. You start scrolling and
Then it
has gone.
captures you. It captures you.
Yeah.
And the entire thing, even if your mobile is off, they say, is not, you are not using it, even then it is listening to you.
Absolutely.
And then when you open your Google, some advertisement which you were talking about, the new car or the new mobile or whatever, they keep popping
Yeah.
up.
If you're talking about meditation apps.
Won't honestly. So, it's some kind of a, I don't know, call it a vicious circle or whatever it is. It's 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 a huge problem. The mobile is not a problem. The way you use it is a problem.
Hmm. Hmm. I've seen a lot of civil servants also now, they have a lot of social media following you. Some of them always keep posting about what they are doing, and they have great popularity across India. Do you think that is a healthy trend, or do you think that the civil services should take a be understated and behind the scenes?
You know, my younger friends will curse me for saying this. A civil servant or a bureaucrat is supposed to remain faceless if he is a genuine bureaucrat.
Hmm.
All these friends who are putting up their whatever posts trying to say that I ate idli in the morning and had a whatever detox somewhere else. I think, or I went to a village and I did this or did this in my office. I feel ashamed to see it. You are not supposed to do all this, but then they are doing it and getting away with it.
As you said, attention is a commodity.
I fail to understand why should a bureaucrat want to popularize himself. That is the domain of somebody who is in public life and wanting to, be in the public as a potential mm, person who can represent them. What I should, I am not here to get votes. I should only be doing the work. And if I will also start doing it, there are many unpleasant decisions which have to be taken and taken on your shoulder, your chest. You have to take them. You can't be interested in pleasing people. So I don't subscribe to that school of thought.
Hmm. For someone with your vast experience, you have interacted with every strata of society. In the sense, all of us usually interact with a certain strata of society, and we live in a little bubble of our own, which is our friend circle, the people we interact with. But for someone like you who's had such a long career in the services, you have interacted with the poorest of the poor and with the richest of the rich.
Yes.
So it gives you a lot of perspective on what are the real issues and what are the real challenges, real opportunities. So, what do you think are the challenges and opportunities that we as a nation face today?
You see, uh, I will not speak about the challenges of the nation. I am more interested in the challenges of individuals and maybe their aggregators, what the nation is. I would say that yes, I have met the poorest of the poor and the richest of the rich. And I must tell you that I have found the richest among the poorest and the poorest among the richest. I say so because somebody who cannot meet both ends, if he is desperate to make a healthy, better livelihood, it's understandable. But I can't understand this race of the wealthier. I'm not saying don't get wealthier. I'm saying you are a poor man if you don't know how blessed you are, if you can't count your blessings, and if you don't understand that this race of more is never enough, this is not going to end. So the point I'm trying to make is that you can see a rich man operating through a window of lack.
Mm.
And you see a poor man operating from a window of contentment and fulfillment. That is the challenge of the individuals.
Wow. Wow. That is so amazing. That is so amazing. And lastly, sir, you've been associated with Heartfulness for just a short time. What has this experience been like? What attracted you?
Actually, s- 6, 7 years ago, when this journey started, we we were a small group of like-minded friends. We set up a small organization. We call it the Life School Bhopal.
Yes.
And we experienced certain things without going to any other, the current, popular schools of wisdom or thought. And we discovered certain things within ourselves. And we found as a small group that they are valuable, they should be shared. And therefore, we created a small platform where we continuously work as a volunteer. So we are everything there, the facilitator also, and the somebody who welcomes the visitors also. So essentially, what we are doing is it's cleaning of the heart, so to say, clearing of the blockages,
Mm.
which which come in the way of the free flow of energy within, and that is why you are joyful one moment and you are, you know, depressed the other moment. So that is the kind of work which we do there. And when I interacted with the abhyasis of the heartfulness, I discovered something which resonates between what heartfulness stands for and what we were as an independent small group of ignorant people doing. And that resonance was very, very sweet and musical. And perhaps that is why I happen to come to Shanti Vanam.
Thank you so much. It's been so wonderful to have you here, and I hope you keep coming back, Kanha Shanti Vanam. And this is your first visit, but I really sincerely hope that this will not be the last. And I mean, there is so much wisdom from your life that a lot of people can glean. So a short conversation doesn't do justice, but we know you're on a schedule. Thank you so much for taking this time out. So it was been a real pleasure.
Thank, thank you so much. It was a great pleasure talking to you. And please forgive me if I have transgressed any ill boundaries.
Not at all. Not at all.
And
The heart knows no boundaries.
I know it has been a very, very, spiritual, meditative, energetic experience being here. And I did not plan to come here. It has happened. And I hope it keeps happening more frequently.
So do we.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of KanaCast. Do subscribe to KanaCast on YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify. Until the next episode, from the entire KanaCast team, namaste and goodbye.